Welcome to the Insightful Player podcast. My name is Chrissy Carew. I'm the host and founder of Insightful Player and the author of Insightful Player, Football Pros Lead a Bold Movement of Hope. I partner with NFL players to transform our world to be inclusive, kinder, and more loving. In each episode, I interviewed NFL players and NFL vets who overcame tremendous obstacles to reach their dream of playing in the NFL. And I'm also a transformational coach. I empower my clients to embrace their dreams, to transform their world and the world around them. And we want you to believe in your dreams and encourage you to commit to them now. Humanity is in trouble. We need you. We all need to do this. We need to embrace our dreams and share them with others so we can have an immediate positive impact on making our world a much kinder place. We invite you to become an important part of our bold movement of hope. Watch this podcast, share it with others, and let us know what you want to see and hear to support you in becoming an insightful player in your life. Thank you. Welcome back to the Insightful Player podcast. Today we have a very special guest on, Ken Harvey. I think, Ken, I met you about, 12 years ago or so.
It was a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. Now, Ken's a retired Pro Bowl linebacker for the NFL, and he was voted one of the 80 best players that ever played for the Redskins, now the Commanders. And he was nominated for the NFL Hall of Fame 5 times. He's a professional speaker. He's the executive director of Touching Hearts, and he'll tell you more about that. It's a nonprofit to empower kids. He's the author of many books and screenplays, and I think he's a creative genius. And I've always said that to you, Ken. You're amazing. And he's accomplished so much, and he's such a giver. Listen to this. Last spring, I had someone call me from the website. It was this man that had been in prison for several decades. And he had gotten out and he had reformed himself. And he wanted to give a special birthday present to his grandson. So he called me and he said, he really loves, would love to have an NFL player call him. And he loves the Cardinals. And Ken was one of the teams you played for. And I called Ken. I said, Ken, what do you think about doing this? And he says, okay. Right away. So Ken created a beautiful message to this 15-year-old kid and wished him a happy birthday. And it was very touching and inspiring. So that's who Ken is. He's always willing to go that extra, not mile, but 20 miles. So Ken, I always appreciate you for doing that. That really touched that kid and that grandfather.
Well, let me give you a quick story on that. It's happened to me. I've met people that I've always wanted to meet, and hopefully they treat you with some sort of respect, and most of them have. But then also I took my dad to the Pro Bowl with me one time, and he got to meet one of his favorite players. And to see my dad, who I look up to as my hero, become this little kid, you just realize the power of what, something as simple as maybe a message. It may not mean as much to you, but to someone else, it could mean the world. So, to do something like that, that's definitely not a problem. It's kind of cool.
It's who you are. You love to give. You love to give. I could keep you all here 40 days and 40 nights to talk about Ken's accomplishments. It's amazing the kind of life he's led. And he did all this being a high school dropout. He has a book that's just come out recently called Stepping Stones. In the beginning was the word. And I believe you get into that in your book. Can you tell us about that wonderful book?
Yeah. So, for me, you go through moments in your life, and as much as I think my life was golden and everything was great, we all got journeys that we got to go through. And this is just kind of my journey from going from being a dropout in high school to making it to the pros, and just kind of what led up to me dropping out of high school, that time in between, and then what was the turnaround and what I had to do in the turnaround to get to where I was at. And sometimes it's simple lessons, it's creating a vision, it's being humble, it's having people to help you along the way. having a goal and setting a goal, and once you kind of focus on that goal, you start seeing things that you probably would have walked past before. And so it's a few little lessons, but the hard thing for me was to try to write it because I had to go back and look at my life a little bit. And some of the things I had kind of pushed away and closed the door on, I had to revisit, reopen, which was actually good because it was more therapeutic. It was kind of like, you know what? Okay, it's the thing that little boogeyman that's kind of always in the closet, open the door. And you say, wow, okay, you know what? I could deal with it. Or this is something that I need to learn from. And so did it. It was still sitting on the shelf for a while, but then you know, for me, as God was telling me, you know, put it out. It's time. I've given this to you, this gift to be able to write a book. But what good does it do if it's just sitting on your computer? Use the gifts that you have, and so that's what I've been doing.
Yeah, and that's great. And one of the things I love about you, many things I love about you, is how transparent you are. You know, you're so and how committed you are to your own growth and development. And you're one of the guys that stands out that you love to learn from your mistakes. And you know, a lot of people have a hard time with that. So can you tell us how did you get like that?
Well, I think you give me way more credit than I deserve. I think I have a hard head, but I I I understand the mistakes, and I understand like certain people see big pictures and can understand it. Some people um, will not see it and is just kind of blinded by it. For me, it was always just looking at life from another perspective and seeing yourself and saying, "Wow, this happened." And then this equals that, and oh wow, this is the way it's supposed to be. The hard thing is this: you can see a lot of times where things are at, but the discipline and the self control are the things that get you to the next level. And sometimes that's you by yourself, but then a lot of times that's you with others. Whether it's just talking to a friend, whether it's someone encouraging you along the way, patting you in the back, or kicking you in the butt, same as kind of in sports, but it can get you to the other side of where you're trying to go. So, like now, there are a lot of apps and there are creative things, but I'm reading more about the brain and how it works and how habits are created. And it's really just trying to create some new habits to learn from the old, create some new.
Yeah, and you've always been a big proponent of getting having a support team because none of us can do it alone. And I always joke with my clients, whether they're Christian or not, why do you think you can do it alone? Even Jesus Christ had 12 apostles, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
and you know, we all need support, don't we?
We do, but it's it's hard to trust people, and
Mm,
and it's hard to trust yourself, I guess, to let go because that may have been the only security you have is almost like a pearl. You get so walled off that you like I can't trust anybody. I can only trust myself, and it's hard to believe that people really care about you just because you're you. And there's no judgment, there's no whatever. It's just they're just trying to help you to become a better person, and that's a hard thing for some people to deal with. A lot of people to deal with because everyone a lot of times seem like they have angles, but there are people who are out there who want nothing more than to have you or see you succeed, and those are the good people in the world.
yeah, we have to really put our antennas up and reach out to them, don't we?
We do. It's sometimes right in front of your face. You have to deal, so that's why they call it faith. You don't know what you're seeing in front of you, but you step out anyhow.
Absolutely. One of my favorite quotes is from Norman Vincent Peale. Do you remember him, The Power of Positive Thinking? I think that book
I know
came
the
out in
book.
the
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
1940s or 30s or like a billion years ago. And he always said, in direct proportion as you trust, you shall reap.
Yeah.
And that's a wonderful thing, isn't it? Like we can surrender and believe in what's possible because you're very good at that, believing like
Well,
what's possible.
I just if read my book in my life, for me to look at my life and say, man, here's a guy who could have potentially at any turn been in jail, been dead, maybe whatever, lost out on the street, lost in life, and you go from that as a dropout in school to going to one of the top schools in the country, and
Right,
then going
Berkeley.
from the top school in the country to playing professional football, getting drafted in the the first round as the
Yeah,
12th pick.
that's amazing.
You know, who would ever thought, right? So I always believe anything's possible, and so I try to tell it to others that, no matter what, there is a way. You just have to find a way. And if it's not a way that's already laid out for you, maybe you have to be, or maybe you're that person that's going to create the new way. So, take those steps.
Definitely, definitely. So the world is crazy right now. There's so much division and anger and fear.
Yeah.
And why do you think it's important for all of us, no matter who we are, to take a part in helping to transform our culture to be, more inclusive, kinder, and more loving?
Well, exactly. I think there's the world works if there's a balance, and I think there's an imbalance right now because people are seeing so much negative and so much anger and hate and separation. And there's good things out there. I think good people sometimes are afraid to take a step and do something. And, a lot of times people aren't showing all the good that's out there. And you need to see that. You need to do it. You can't believe that the way the enemy works is to separate people and not so you don't so you feel like you're fighting this battle by yourself or you're not fighting this battle, and then you get discouraged and you stop doing the good that you would normally do because you think you're the only one doing it, where there's a lot of people out there that's doing good, but we need to show it more. We need to take a step. If we have a good idea or we have something positive, we need to spread that around because we have to balance out whatever that that we need to do more to create the positive to go along with it.
We certainly do. And for everyone out there, if you know of anyone or if you're out there doing really positive things, reach out. We want to hear from you. We'd
Yeah.
even love to have you on the show. We have to create a world more. They're going at it alone, but we want to create a community to support you. So please reach out to us. So, how do you see us becoming a culture that's more loving?
Well, so my big thing is kind of my life right now is there's Exodus 4:2, and God told Moses, "What's in your hand?" And Moses said, "The staff," right? And God was like, they told him to throw it down and became a snake, and he said, "Go and pick it up." But to me, that's saying no matter what you think is so small, the gift that you have, whatever is in your hand, it's big enough. If you trust God, that gift can part the Red Seas. That gift can free all those people. So I think sometimes we undervalue what we have because we think it has to be the big show. We think we have to be the massive entertainer. We think we have to have all the accolades that goes with it. But sometimes it's something as simple as, walking your kids to school or that Sunday meal where everybody gets together and have a conversation. People remember that type of stuff. It may be saying hi to somebody and smiling to them at a Starbucks or at a grocery store. Those little things can make a world of difference, and that very thing may be the very thing that person that you're talking to may need. You don't know. There's been times in my life where out of nowhere where somebody may come up to me and say, "Hey, smile, it's not that bad. Hey, you know what, you're a special person. Man, you got gifts or something." And it's what I need to hear. They don't know that how bad I needed to hear that, but that's what I needed to hear. Or even just listening to someone is a talent that a lot of people don't have. And if you're willing to listen, a lot of people just need to talk. So there you go.
Yeah, listening is like there's so little of that out there right now. Everybody's
Yeah,
screaming
yeah,
at
yeah,
each other, right?
yeah.
Yeah, just last week I was at the grocery store and the grocery clerk had this customer in front of me that was really nasty. And the way she handled herself, the grocery clerk, was unbelievable. She was
Good.
so loving. The meaner that woman got, the kinder she got. And I said, "Oh my God, you're such an inspiration. It's amazing how you handle that situation. How do you do
To
that?"
look at um, Chick-fil-A. You go to those places, and when I first started going there, I'm like, this got to be a gag, or maybe why are people so nice? You're on guard because you're not expecting that, but it becomes a norm, and then you start expecting kindness, and you start treating people with kindness, and so I think little things like that where stores are realizing that there's value in treating people with respect. We kind of got away from that, but it's time to go back to it because there's just so many lost people, and maybe we can be the very seed to change them from going in one direction to go to another direction.
Absolutely. And everyone, Ken is in my book, Insightful Player.
Yeah,
And at the end of each chapter, I have each player's guiding principles. I usually save it for the end of the interview, but I think it's appropriate now. Here's a couple that really amazing for this time of where we're at. Believe in the inherent worth and goodness of everyone you meet. Now, that can be a real tall order to fill right now.
yes, and so sometimes, and I think for a while I got jaded and frustrated with people, and sometimes just to hear a baby laugh with they're just laughing because it's funny, or you listen to a kid say something that's so innocent and you realize that the world is so full of good stuff. Good people can't run away. I coached this congressional football game. We got about 30 Congress members that play flag football against Capitol Hill Police. These are
Whew.
Democrats and Republicans on the same team. I wanted to, for a while, I was getting ready to walk away. But then you realize that's what a lot of people are doing. They're walking away from those opportunities to be a bridge. And so, sometimes we got to stay into the fight. Now, people are nasty. People, I've heard people say things that you shouldn't say to people, or treat somebody the way you shouldn't treat a person who's only doing their job, or whatever. And it saddens me to hear that, but that's why we got to fight that much more. Maybe that's why we got to be the one to come in after that person, so unruly at the grocery store, to mention to the lady and say, you know what, I really appreciate the way you handled that, because that for me was showing me how to handle other people. Stuff like that can make a big difference.
Yes, definitely. And she said she has that as her value, but the reason why she really was able to really surrender and really give it her best is because she was having a bad day, and she knew that if she did something kind for someone else, that she would feel better. So she
That's
felt
amazing.
empowered, right? So
Yeah.
I salute her. She was my hero last week.
That's so cool. I mean, look, you could catch me on a bad day. I don't ever want to come across like I walk on water. I got my
No.
issues and different things that I'm dealing with, but I just know that for me, God has given me gifts, and I need to use those gifts. And so, whether it's writing a children's book, whether it's a book about my life, I have a new thing out now. I'm surprised, not surprised, but this is it's called Backpack Angels.
Oh, I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah,
No.
right. And so it's Backpack Angels, and it's just little messages to represent good messages, right? Joy, peace, love. Just pass it around. We need to have something and push something and say, hey, these are good things. There's a lot of good things in the world. We need to pass it around because there's, like, once again, there's so much negative. It's a battle between both sides, and we have to build up the other side to make it at least even, if not overflowing to the good side.
Absolutely. And I know a lot of people are compliant because they're worn out. And, I'm hoping that we can inspire them just to do the little things like go, check on your neighbor, or, just do anything nice. Call someone that needs could use a lift. And I think if we could all do little things every day, it would make a huge difference.
Well, that's it. That's just it. I mean, fortunately, the technology is a powerful and a great thing, but a lot of times we think we have to do something that's so big that's going to be on TV or TikTok or whatever, that's going to be worldwide, and it could be just in your own backyard. Something that's so small that no one knows about, but the person you're doing it to, they know about it, and that's the big thing. So
Yeah, you're planting some really valuable seeds, when
yeah,
you're kind to people like that, as you
yeah.
do. Um, and another one of your guiding principles was be able to envision a better future and use that as a benchmark to work toward. And we all need to do that because it's been so grim with our culture. We have to see what's possible, look for the best. What do you want to say about that?
Yeah, no, I like I said, I've gotten away from it at times. Sometimes you got to get a reality check and come back. But if you envision a future, then you have to go out and make it happen. So, like in the Bible, and you can read whatever you want and believe in whatever you want, but there's a part where God was talking to Joshua, and he's like, "The promised land is there. I've already given it to you, but now you got to go and take it. You got to go and cross the river. The river. You got to go and beat the soldiers. You got to go and take the land because I promised it to you. But just because it's a promise doesn't mean it's a gift. You got to go out and take it. And so, if we want goodness, if we want better things in the world, we have to go out and take it because it is a battle. It is a war that we're fighting, and we have to be soldiers to go out and take what we want. And I'm not saying take it like violence. I'm just saying we have to go out, and if we're going to fight against whatever is negative, we just got to fight it with good. We got to be warriors to the goodness of the world. And so, there you go. you know,
um, there you go. Yes, we do. It's we all need to take an active
well,
part. Ken.
yeah. I don't want. I always look at it and I'm like, God. I know I have my moments where I get down. Uh, you know, depressed, feel like I'm alone. But then I'll call a friend, and that person may just listen, and I'm like, man, I'm just glad you listened, and that makes my day better. Or I call a buddy, and we joke for 10 minutes, same jokes we've been doing since college, 30 some years ago. But for us, it's just like it was brand new. And we were like, at the end, we're like, we just needed to laugh. We just needed to have a laugh. And so don't think that those moments aren't worth something. And that's probably the biggest message is that sometimes we think those little things aren't worth a lot, and they are. And so you have that power.
Right, and everyone gets depressed or feels down or discouraged. It's just part of our humanity because it isn't easy being a human being, is it? So, oh, go ahead.
No, I lost the signal for a minute, so I don't know if you said anything.
Oh, I said everybody who has their tough days or gets discouraged or depressed because that's part of being human.
Right.
It's part of our humanity, and it's not easy being a human being.
It's not. It's not. There's look, if it was easy, then the world would be then we have no problems, right? But
Right.
we're in this world and we have to deal with what we have. And so you can either just take it and lie down, or you can say, I'm gonna stand up and fight and do something about it. Or even if you don't stand up and fight, you may have somebody to help prop you up to deal with that situation. So, there's the good thing now is there's a lot of talk about mental wellness. And so you may have a depressed day, but it's okay to say, I need some help, or I need to talk to somebody. Those are
Right.
issues now that at one time it was like, shut up, deal with it, suck it up,
Right.
all that type of stuff. That was my mindset. Suck it up, deal with it. But now you got to realize sometimes you need help. You need to just talk to somebody. And it may be someone, it's easier to talk to a stranger who knows nothing about you, so that you can just talk and say whatever you want to say, and just to have them listen without any type of judgment. So
Right. Right.
that's always good too.
Yeah, judgment-free zone. Those are
Yeah, there you go.
precious, precious. And you also have something you've been doing for a while is life lessons for the gym. You've been posting on LinkedIn. Are you still doing that?
I'm still doing it. Unfortunately, I haven't been to the gym as much as I used to be, and so the life lessons have been short. But the life lessons from a gym is, once again, it's like using the gift that you have, right? So I go to the gym, I work out, and I'm like, you know what? me working out, going to the gym is like doing something in life. And how do those two correlate? So, same, you could take something as simple as, I'm trying to bench press and I'm looking for a spotter. And then you get a spotter and you try to get the extra weight up and it's going to push you past what you would normally go. But the same thing in life is that sometimes you need that extra person to make sure they help you as a spotter. They don't have to do anything, but sometimes just tapping where you think it's a barely a tap, but that tap is just what you need to get you beyond your goal, just a little bit. So I'll do you know, a minute short of a minute segment and just say life lesson from the gym. Here's what I'm doing in the gym, and then this is how it relates to life and business.
That's great.
Yeah,
I've enjoyed watching them. They're really
thank you,
fun.
thank you. As I do my acting job, I pour water on my head and make it feel like I'm working out hard and all that stuff. No.
um, now you have someone that you want to do a shout out for, someone that you really admire, John Booty.
Oh, John. Okay, Johnny Boy. Yeah, a few people I admire, but John Booty is. So we played together with the Cardinals, and so it was a long time ago. He came. He ended up coming to Washington not to play, but just to live. And we met each other. And he's been a really good friend to me. Always a positive personality. Good. We both kind of bonded that we both went to a junior college, and from junior college we ended up making it to the pros and having some success. And so um, John's just you find those people that you're kind of like, what are you on, because they're always positive and they always have that good attitude. That's the
Hmm.
type of person. So I just want to shout out to John, just for being a good guy.
Well, we'd love to have him on the show because it sounds like he'd be very contagious.
Yeah, I
With
think
his.
I think you would really enjoy him. I gotta make a note and we'll try to get him to come on your show because you know it, we all have stories to tell. He has a pretty powerful story himself, but people need to hear it. And my story may affect one person, but it may not affect another person, and his story may hit that person a different way than mine. So uh,
Mhm.
you definitely should have him on the show.
Excellent, excellent.
We'll
And
make it
any,
happen.
yeah, that'd be great. We'd love to have him, for sure. And you have one fun fact that you got engaged to your wife by mistake. We had a glitch in the coverage here. You had a funny tidbit that you shared that you got engaged to your wife by mistake. Can you share that story? Is a good way to
Yes,
complete.
she's okay with it now. Before it was kind of like, you better not ever tell that story. But I like me as a kind of a shy person, kid, and I only knew what I saw on TV. Like to me, life was a 30-minute TV series. You do this happens, and here's the result. Boom. And way back in the day, I just used to see people give rings, or I don't know what I was thinking, but give something as a gift to your girlfriend, because I never really had a girlfriend. And so I got this ring and I was going to give it to my wife as kind of like a gift. And with that, she was like, "Oh my God, is this what I think it is?" And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Oh, yes, I do." And that's how we got engaged. So we've been married 33 years, and 30, I think 36, 37 years later, we're still together. So, sometimes you don't have to have the elaborate way of getting married. You just got to fight through the battle. And she's a great lady. If you talk anything that's where you think I'm a good person, I'm so. She's a good person, a good heart,
Mhm.
and her goodness shows in everything she does. I mean, she's an interior decorator. She does
Mm.
design. She designs flowers and things like that, and wreaths and all that. But um, you can see the touch of love in everything she does, and the way she talks to people. People come back partially because of how good a work she does, but more so because she's just that good of a person. So, I'm just in her shadow, trying to hang out.
Ah, she sounds wonderful. I'm
Yeah.
so glad you have each other. That's fabulous.
Yeah.
And before you go, do you want to talk anything about Touching Heart?
Yeah, so Touching Heart's a nonprofit. We're trying to teach kids about compassion, about leadership, about giving. I mean, I think we we sometimes point the finger at people and say, you know, you should know better, or you should do this and you should do that. But we don't realize if it's not taught, then the person's not going to know. If you're
Right.
not taught compassion, if you're not taught how to love somebody, if you're not taught all those good things, then it's not going to grow and it's not going to be spread around. That person doesn't have it to give. So what we try to do is plant the seeds with the kids to help them in their journey of giving and their journey of growing and compassion. We have a Schools on a Mission, which is an after school program where the kids get together. They work on a project where they're going to either try to raise money or give gifts or something to people who need it. And part of it is giving. Part of it is the feeling of knowing that you've helped somebody, and then just on the other side, just the thankfulness. You know, it goes back and forth. And even if there is no thank you, is doing it because you know it's the right thing, and by the grace of God, you may be in that position, and you will want somebody to help you. So it's a great charity. I didn't start it. You know, I came on a couple of years ago, but you know, we're just trying to make a difference. And like I said, it goes back to what I said in the beginning, the small seeds. You know, if one person in the charity goes out to do good, uh, that person may be the person that rules the world. You know, the hand that rocks the cradle.
Yes.
It's that one person may be the person that makes a world a better place. There we go.
Well,
Had a little glitch. Sorry.
yeah, that's okay. Um,
Okay.
well, thank you. It's wonderful that you're part of that nonprofit, Touching Hearts. And so, how can people best reach you?
So it's touching heart, but there's no S on it. So it's
Oh, right, right. Yep.
touchingheart.com. You can reach me there, and or you can go to krhcompany.com, and that's my website. And so you can also reach me there as well. And then you know the book is let's see, it's in the background, Stepping Stone.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
Excellent, excellent.
My big picture of it. There we
They can get
go.
that on Amazon
You
or
can get it
anywhere.
on you can get it on Amazon, and it's just you know I was reading it today. I was reading it to see if I could ever do a audio book, and how does my voice sound. You know, you never like your own voice. I don't like my own voice, but reading it, I remember writing in the beginning part was just to say this book is for people who think maybe they're too old to make changes, or they think they're too young, or they think they're not worthy. Just remember, it can happen. You just have to start where you're at, and then understand this is your starting point. You go back in the past, and you may learn from it, but it doesn't define who you are. That's the starting point, is where you're at, and then you go forward from there. So
Right,
hopefully that book will help somebody. And you know, it was a journey writing it, but it was my life, as we all have stories.
right. I look forward to reading it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to help a lot of people.
Thank you very much.
So, Ken, thank you so much. It's so great to be reconnected with you, and
Yeah.
you're doing some beautiful work out there. And
So are you. Look at you. You're putting pieces together and getting me on the show. And I appreciate you guys sticking to trying to get me on the show, because I know we had a hard time connecting for a minute. So
right.
thank you for your diligence in doing that.
Yes, definitely. All right. And everyone, thank you for watching or listening. And go out and do something to make somebody smile this week. And let us know what you notice. Okay, doke. Thanks,
Perfect.
everyone. See you next time. Bye bye.
Ciao.
The entire Insightful Player podcast initiative is dedicated to the late Tom Constantino. Tom Constantino was my PR consultant. He was over the moon fabulous. He was really an exceptional human being. And Insightful Player wouldn't have made it to where it is now if it wasn't for Tom. So, Tom, up there in heaven, I just want you to know you're going to live in my heart forever. And I am forever grateful for you. Thank you.